Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Thank you for joining us on Making a Difference with Sandra Uko every day, making a difference every day. And one of the reasons we do this is to bring men and women who have gone through diverse situations, diverse circumstances in life, who are making a difference in their world. We've gone beyond just being successful or survivor to success to living a life of significance. We all know that we all at a time in our journey to success, we have challenges. And going through those challenges from zero to becoming an hero, we have to go through the process. And men and women who have gone through this process, who have gone through difficult moments, who have gone through challenging moments, but who are still there making a difference in their world, living a life of significance. So we bring them to tell their stories so that we can learn and glean from them. And so we have a special guest with us today. Her name is Rosette, but she will be coming soon, shortly on board. But before we bring her on board, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Sandra Uko. I'm a Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member, Coach, Speaker, and Trainer. I'm a member of the Toastmaster, the Vice President, Public Relations, and the Toastmasters. I'm also an IT salesperson of over 20 years. I'm also a best-selling author, and just recently I got the Presidential Life Award. I'm excited to have you on the show, and I want to thank our guests. I also want to thank our viewers. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for believing in us. And please, if this has been a blessing to you, please kindly share with your loved ones. It is said that a leader is one who knows it and shares it with others. And that's what we are called. We are leaders in our different facets of life. So let's share what is blessing and doing us good to everyone. Thank you so much. And before I bring in our guests, okay, welcome. Rosette is a transformational leader, leadership coach, a disc trainer, and speaker with the Maxwell Leadership Team. She has qualification in law, business administration, human resources management, and development. She started her career in one of the top law firms in Kampala, Uganda, before moving into the corporate world in a multinational oil and gas. Her desire to stay with her then young family led her to leave her corporate job and follow her husband, who had gotten an international job. She writes about this and more in a book, The Expatriate Wife. Did relinquishing a career mean losing our identity? That's what she's asking a question. Relinquishing a career, does it mean losing our identity? Not at all. So as a coach, she believes everyone has the potential for personal development. She also knows that action is what will produce your desired results. She encourages her clients to take steps and not to leap to their desired and not to lead to their desired destination. So as a mentor, Rosalind aimed at building relationship with her mentee by sharing personal stories of both her successes and failure, then drawing lessons for her mentees to apply and flourish. In March 2023, Rosette was the recipient of one of the awards in the Maxwell Leadership DNA Award in the category of nurturing transformation. Her desire to serve and nurture transformation in her community saw her start a personal development blog with a Christian focus in 2016 called the Fulfilled Life blog. This blog has since grown into a coaching practice, which she runs under the brand the Fulfilled Life Network. Awesome. In addition, in 2021, Rosette co-founded the African Women Leadership Summit, which is an annual event that brings together women professionals and entrepreneurs on the African continent and beyond to discuss pertinent leadership topics and network. The summit began in 2021 under the theme Be More, Do Less. And in 2022, the theme was A Seat at the Leadership Table. Awesome. So these summits will run again this year on the 16th of September. That's a few days from today, 2023, under the theme Dare to be Different. Awesome. Rosette is married to Benjamin, and together they are raising two beautiful souls, Ephraim and Esther Joy. So I'm so excited to bring Rosette WAMAMBE into the studio right now. Hello, ma. I'm excited to welcome you. Welcome, welcome,
Thank
welcome. You
you.
have so much great work. I think I should
Thank
join
you,
you one
Sandra. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
How is Uganda? Are you in Uganda or United States of America?
No, right now I'm in Johannesburg. I was born in Uganda, but again, because of work, we live in Johannesburg in South Africa.
And how are you finding it?
It's very fine. It's very fine. We've been on the road of expatriate life for the last 15 years. So we left Uganda and then moved to North Africa in Tunisia, where we lived for 6 years. And then after that, we moved down to West Africa in Abidjan in Cote d'Ivoire, where we lived for another almost 5 years. And then we are now living here in Johannesburg for the last
You
5
were just
years.
moving
So
around,
for
right?
us, home, yes, we do. So for us, home is where we are. So we like to dive into the culture of the people and just make it home until the Lord moves us again. Mm.
No, that's so beautiful, blending, getting to fit
Mm.
into the system there. That's awesome. What kind of job do your husband do? Is it in the military? Because I know it's mostly military that really moves around.
No, he's not in the military. He works in an international development organization.
Okay, so they move
Yes,
from
that
one
is
African
on
country
the
to another.
African continent. Yeah,
Oh,
so
awesome.
that is why.
Well
Mm.
done. Kudos to him.
Yeah.
Here. So awesome to have you today. Is there anything I didn't read in your resume you want to touch? You want to touch before we go into the questioning and hearing from you and learning from you?
I think you did mention almost everything. We'll see how we'll touch on the rest inside. But maybe just what I can point out is life is interesting, you know. I started out in a career that I wanted so much from when I was 10 years to be a lawyer. And I have since evolved. And for the past 2 years, I'm now growing a new career as an ethics officer. So that is something I didn't think I would do, but that is what I'm currently doing now.
Awesome. So great to have you on this show today.
Thank
And
you.
it's my pleasure to have you and to have our guests and to have our viewers. So thank you for being. And one of the reasons why we bring great minds who have been through tough times, trauma, through turbulent times, who have gone from zero to hero. We want to learn from you. You've gone through the stage of trying to survive, being a success in your chosen field, and now trying to give back to your community as a life of significance, giving back. And this is the stage I think most of us in this age brackets are doing right now, trying to impact our community, trying to impact lives. And so, rightly, I want to find out what's the driving force that has kept you, being passionate about what you do, trying to help women, trying to make, bring out the best version of leaders.
Mm. I think I lost you there, Sandra, a bit.
Yeah, I think maybe the internet. I think I saw that you were frozen a bit. I was asking, what's the
Mm.
driving force that have kept you going? What has been that thing that you look up to, that has kept you
Mm.
going and pushing forward to doing extra and doing more?
Thank you. All right. Thank you. That's a good question. For me, really, I would want to put it to my faith. I'm a person of faith, and like you read in my resume, life did throw me a curveball because originally I thought I'm a person for whom, even when I started out, I was like, moving in stages, and I knew that's what life would give me, until you come to a road that is at a crossroad and you have to make a choice. You have a young family. Do you live separate lives, or do you say, okay, let's take a leap of faith and move together and trust and see what is on the other side? So for me, when that first curveball came in my life, I'm glad that I had a solid rock. I like to refer to them as a anchors of life. And for me, my permanent anchor is my faith. I found that holding on to my faith was able to help me to make decisions even when I didn't know what was ahead of me. So for me in life, even as I continue to journey in life and the tough times come, I find that I have this cliff that I can go to and hold on and trust that even when I do not have the answers do come through if
Yeah,
I'm ready to take that one step and the next step and trust that I'll be able to see a way out.
that's awesome. You know, a person of faith, anchoring on your faith. And once
Mm-hmm.
you get through turbulent moments, that faith always comes true. That's a
Mm-hmm.
great one. So, can you tell us about what was the push to read law? Was it that you were a very good talker, or you were introvert, or there something? Because I know a lot of times when you talk and argue a lot, like my husband will rightly
Mm.
say, it would have been good for you to have read law because you can argue, you can talk. So I find out that
Okay.
people who talk tend to
Mm.
take law as a degree. So what's the meat behind your law degree?
Oh, wow. It's true that I do talk, but for me, I was really inspired by my father. My father is a lawyer, and I liked the fact that he was always looking out for other people. He served in government, so he started out as a prosecutor and he went through the ranks until he became the director of public prosecutions. So I was taken up by the way he would come back home and let us know what he was working on. He also traveled a lot, so I like to travel. But I remember one time, I can't really remember the show, but there we were young and we were watching a show. And somehow this show involved a scene, a court scene. And I was intrigued by the way people were talking in court back and forth. And it was at that time that I decided and said, I think when I grow up, I want to be a lawyer. So, of
Wow.
course, coupled with the fact that my father was a lawyer, he kept encouraging me through the years, even when I kept getting setbacks towards the dream that I had set out when I was just 10 years old.
Awesome.
Mm, mm,
That's a great one. Having a role model. And that's why we
mhm.
said the things people do,
Exactly.
kids do not follow what we say. They tend to do what we do. Action speaks louder
Mm-hmm.
than voice. And that's why,
Mm-hmm.
I've read several books that have said an example is what's more than an advice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's what you do that people get to follow. And
That
so
is
that's the
true.
reason why you have to be careful, be sure of what you do,
That is
be
true.
sure of what you do. So that's a
Mm,
great one, ma'am.
mm,
So I also want to
mm,
find out just a moment. Then there was something you said when you spoke
mm,
about um, moving with your husband was not the end of your
mm,
career. Could you throw more
mm.
lights on that?
Yes, I can. Like I was mentioning, the year was 2008, and the year before my husband had got a position 6 months before, and he had mentioned to me that there was this opportunity that had come up and he wanted to take up this opportunity. So I said, go ahead. At the time, I was pregnant with our daughter. So I stayed back home, and it gave me 6 months to not only allow the baby to, of course, grow within me and bond, but it also gave me time to ask myself, what is it that I wanted after she had come into the world? Did I want us to live two separate lives as families? my husband doing the job overseas and me staying back in Uganda. And I think I came to the conclusion that I had been brought up in a home where I was blessed to have both my mother and father. I saw the benefits, and I wanted to give that to our children. So, luckily enough, I did ask whether there was an opportunity for me to, if I joined him, to be able to work in the same organization. I was told the requirements that are needed, and I worked very hard. I had to go back to school, and I did my master's in line with the requirements that were required. And then I took the leap of faith. I had just more or less started maybe 3 years into a role in an international organization, multinational. I was enjoying what I was doing. But here I was, again, being guided by my values, my family. I value family so much. How would I then say I value family and then want to split it? So again, that value, me being true to my value, and like I said, relying on my faith, I was able to take that leap of faith and be able to join my husband and start without a career that I had known I wanted to be since I was 10, and I had graciously got into it despite the setbacks that had come along the way. And here I was saying, okay, Lord, I don't know what is here, but let's see how this is all going to turn out. In the beginning, it wasn't very easy, having been involved in being a corporate woman who was also a mother. I kept telling people I'm used to juggling both and not just sitting back at home and doing the one side of the of what I called being the mother. I also wanted to be the career mother, you see. So it wasn't easy, but again, being a person who likes to grow, personal growth, I began asking myself, because both me and my husband are in the same career. So the problem that we met also was that, can you work in the same institution, in the same department? So one of us had to let go. So I sat back and said, but I like to develop myself. That again saw me going back into postgraduate school. And that's when I did a master's in human resource management, which would later lead me to what I am almost currently doing now as a coach. So sometimes you can look at a situation and think it is breaking up what you have tried to build, but in most cases, it's actually strengthening that which you want to achieve. That is what I found true for me.
Yeah, that was a great story. Not allowing the obstacles and the challenges you meet to chicken you out. Because a lot of times people be like, oh my God, I have to stop this career. But trying to diversify, trying to pick up all the skills. Because you said you can't beat them, join them. Join them in the sense
Exactly.
that if you cannot get job in that field that you came
Mm,
with, then find out
mm,
what is common, what are people doing, what relevance, what value can you add to the community. And if you have to pick up a degree, please do. It is not too late.
mm,
Some people tell you, oh my
mm.
God, it's late. No, not at all. It is
It's
said that
never
the
too
best time to
late.
have ever planted a tree was 20 years ago, and the next
Wow.
best time is now. So whatever decision, whatever step you want to take, start it now. And I remember the
Mm,
story of Chick-fil-A. When did he start?
mm,
He started at his old age, maybe when he was 60s. He was in his 60s. So there's really nothing that's impossible. There's really nothing that should keep us back from becoming our best version. Why we bring
that
people to
is true.
share their story with us is to let us know that the sky is always our starting point and not our limits. If you're open to embracing new skill, you would always, we are multi facets. God has created us, we have skills. And I use David as an example in the Bible. David was different things and he was good in every of his skills. He was a dancer, he was a worshiper, he was a king, he was also a warrior. So God has given us that power to be able to do so many things, and doing them well. So, except you are a closed door person, but if you're willing to embrace change, which is change is the only constant thing you would always embrace. Likewise, me, when I moved in to the US. I had a degree. I have a postdoc. I had a doctoral degree that I could. I said, okay, no, I can't go to school again. I've done all I need to do. Now it's just to wait and get into postdoc. But yet I had not defended, and I needed to do something. And that was why I stumbled across John Maxwell and loving it. Every day I was always coming out to look for Mondays with Maxwell. I wanted more. And that was what propelled me. And today we are all both in the same academy, and we're one big family with the Maxwell family. And so beyond that, if somebody had told me I would have written a book, I'll tell you no. I became a writer, not only a writer, I became a ghostwriter and author. And I went into, graphic design and doing a lot. So wherever you find yourself, find out what skills works in there. I just recently, I just did some exams and I'm in school again. But a lot of people will tell you, how many things are you doing? It is said that opportunity comes with preparedness. If you're not prepared and an opportunity comes for you to be, to get a job or get into the government, if you're not prepared, you can't get that job. So it's always good you find out what is common, what is what's common in that community. How can you be of relevance? How can you impact your community? And find out what skills. Are these skills that are versatile that you can use both in the government and outside in your business, such that you can use that to be a blessing, not only to your ministry, but to the world at large. So well done. You're doing a great work, ma'am. And
Thank
it's
you.
not a wasted effort. You never know those skills, right? Someday somebody might be looking for a lawyer to become, maybe a PA, personal assistant, but looking for a lawyer specific with a background of law degree. And that is how God, gets you arranged. Like I have someone, a story I heard, she works with special education, autistic children who have challenges. And you know how God will lift her. She was, both parents are professors. For such a lady, she ought not to be doing such job. Maybe, the kind of jobs we look at in Africa. If you're not a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're an engineer. Those were skills the father was, everyone was looking up to, getting her to do getting her to do. But eventually, she did special education. And she said she was led. God gave her a leading. Just recently, a governor was looking for someone with special skills. She was called from Lagos State. She's now the PA to the governor in either Ekiti or Osun State for special education. So she
Wow.
said, who would have believed the kind of life, everything changed overnight, having people at your beck and call. Now you're the governor's special assistant, which is, awesome. At the beginning, people might have
Wow.
laughed at her, but she knew what she wanted. So knowing what you want in life and facing it, don't be here and there, you're here today, tomorrow, but just focus on what you are called to and the inner still voice in you, what God wants you to be. Because everything and everyone God has created, He has put virtues in them. There is
That is true.
potential in everyone. And we need to come to that level of harnessing our potential, bringing it to limelight. Thank you so much, ma'am. I had to make that digression because just to let you know that your skill gathering is not a waste. You're prepared and opportunity someday opportunity will come. And you'll be like, oh my God, thank God I had all this degree. Thank God I did all I did. It's not a waste. Well done. And keep the flag flying.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Can you tell us about the Rosette co-founded the African Women Leadership? What was that, with all the skills you're gathering, you also have the space to found a Women Leadership Summit that you have been doing in the
Yes.
last 2 years. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, I can. Maybe before I tell you about the summit, let me just go back a bit to say, because it all started when I joined the Maxwell Certified Leadership Team. So in 2016, remember I had left my career 2008, and now I'm at home. I did get a few consultancies along the way, but when I was not consulting and I was at home, I told myself, I said, what can I do with all these skills that I have been blessed with? I like to read and I also like to write because I believe my strengths are in communication. So at the time, I was reading a lot of self-development books, and I wanted to find an avenue to share what I was reading. And that's when I started the Fulfilled Life blog in 2016. So I had written this blog for about 3 years when my co-founder of the summit, Betty O'Gill, became a John Maxwell coach. So she then came back and said, Rosette, you're doing good work on the blog, but you need a bigger foundation, a bigger stage that you can be able to operate on. And so she helped me and I joined the John Maxwell team. So when I joined the John Maxwell team in 2019, there again, Sandra, you know you're in the team, how we like to joke and say it's like we drink from a fire hose pipe because the information it's too much, it's too good. You want to share it. So here we are with Betty, we
It's
sat and we
awesome. It's
said,
a place everyone should be.
exactly,
In JMC family,
exactly,
you've got to be there.
exactly. So we are blessed with all these resources, and we said, how can we use these resources to serve women so that they grow in their leadership? And that is how we started the Africa Women Leadership Summit. We wanted it to be an annual event where women from the continent and beyond can meet together, listen to keynote speakers, listen to speakers on a particular subject, interact, share experiences, and then grow in their leadership. So that is the reason why we started the Africa Women Leadership Summit. We continue to hold it every September. We've moved the date from 16th to 30th September for this year. It will be 30th September, where again, we'll come together and listen to keynote speakers, speak to us, and encourage us as we grow in our leadership. This year, we want to talk about the topic, Dare to be Different.
Awesome. Awesome. Is this going to be virtual too, so that viewers and I can also
Yes,
join?
it is.
I'm not in Johannesburg, so I can, participate.
Yes. Yes,
Oh, that's
it's
good.
always a virtual event because, like we said, we wanted it to be for women on the continent and beyond.
Okay, that's
Mm,
good. We would like you to share your details with us on the events so we can
okay,
be
I'll
part of
do
it.
that.
So I
I'll
think
do
before
that.
we go to
Thank
the
you.
next session, I'll just want us to take a water break.
Are you thinking of how to
Okay,
publish your
thank
book
you.
on Amazon or how to get your published book to become an Amazon bestseller book? Dip Insight Books is the perfect in-between solution in transforming your ideas into a book. We can help you with all the complicated parts of publishing, such as process TO transformation. What we do: full manuscript evaluation, receive quality assurance edit, full copy edit and final proofread to remove spelling and grammar mistakes, oversee your cover design, create your interior layout, publish and distribute your book, lock down your marketing strategy. Ghostwriting, where there is no manuscript. Our goal is to help you publish your book promptly. Contact us today at 404-740-9091. Email us at info@dipinsightworld.com. To start the submission process, check us out at www.books.dipinsightworld.com and submit your details. You can visit our Facebook page at Dip Insight World.
So great to have you back. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank
Excited.
you.
Thank you so much. Having an event and a summit, to reach out to lives. And, like I rightly said, we've just gone beyond just being, surviving, from being just successful, but living a life of significance. And that's what Rosette WAMAMBE is doing. She's actually not just living, being successful, but, living a life of impact, impacting other women in a sphere. And like I said, we are leaders who knows it. He said it's a leader is the one who knows it and shares it with others. So if you know it, if you have a thing that would bless others, then you want to share with others. You want to be a blessing to everyone in your circle, in your world. And it says, show me your environment and I'll tell who you are. So if you are surrounded by people that are not like you, then you're not being a good leader. You're meant to lead, and people meant to be an influence, an impact in your community. Help others to grow, to become better than you being the champion. It is said that when you stay in the midst of where you're a local champion, then before you know it, you start going out. So you want to, work with others, rub shoulders with others that are high up there so you can learn more and also be able to impact those behind you, coming behind you, so that they can be better than you. So we're in a world where we're trying to make a difference in our world, leaving a mark and the sign of times. What would you want people to know you by once you're no longer here? So we have to be careful the way we live life, but being a person of impact, making a difference in our world. So what's the focus? What do you intend to do with your unique story journey? I knew that you're a recipient of the Maxwell DNA Cultural Award in the category of nurturing transformation. How did you end the award? What did you do that earned you the award?
Again, my story, as I answer that question, I want to just go back a little bit. I mentioned earlier that we started when we left home in Uganda, we moved to North Africa and then West Africa. So when we came to Johannesburg, one of the things that I had always wanted was to attend a women's conference. So here I was seated in Johannesburg at a women's conference in a church, and then Valerie Burton was introduced. So she came on to speak.
Wow.
So when Valerie Burton came, yes, when she came to speak, she told a story about her grandmother. She said when her grandmother died, she said the entire town shut down because people came to bury this woman who had been so good. She says, I don't remember the age she said, but she said she was young, but she remembered seeing 4 gentlemen wearing their uniforms because they used to work at a gas station. The gas station was closed and they came. And story after story she had about this grandmother of hers. And after she had told that story, she posed a question like every coach does. She said, who will miss you when you're gone, apart from your family? And then she left us with that question. And that question stayed with me. It really did stay with me. Because I asked myself, I said, okay, I left my home. What impact did I leave in Tunisia when I lived there for 6 years? We had done a few things. I said, what impact did I leave in West Africa, in Abidjan, when I lived there? And I purposed that Johannesburg was going to be a different place for me. Like you said, I wanted to move from success to significance and actually impact people. So one of the things we did was when we started the summit, but I also went out of my way. I said, every day we meet different people as we do different things. When you go to the salon to do your nails, there's usually a lady who's working on your nails. Sometimes we go with a magazine. As she's working, we are flipping. I decided to do away with all that and focus on who I was with. Whether I was going into, because Johannesburg is a very closed city because of the crime. So we live in estates. Before you get to somebody's home, you have to go through, there are guards involved. I said, even as I go into an estate, I'll try to connect with the guards at the gate. I'll try to connect with the lady who's doing my massage, a lady who's doing my nails. So that is how I started, went to a bookstore to buy books, connected with the lady, discovered what's your life, what are you doing, this kind of thing. And usually people like to share their stories. So the young lady shared her story. She shared how she had a baby at 19, and for her, she was now in her 30s, but it was like life had stopped, you see? So I saw an opportunity. I invited her over for lunch. I talked to her. I introduced her. I said, in order for you to change your life, you have to read. Like you said, Sandra, your environment matters. She started to read. Before I knew it, this young lady came back and told me, maybe 3 months later, she said, look at the books I'm reading. She was talking about Mel Robbins, this book. And then she said, and I had stopped my certificate course. I'm going back to do my course and finish it. She did finish her certificate. And the bottom line is she got a promotion from the work she was doing to a supervisor. It didn't stop there. I was also talking to the lady who does my nails and finding out how is life. And she would keep talking to me. I would say, how do you run your business? And she would say, I just get the money. And I said, do you have a book where you write and say, Rosette has come, Mary has come? How often do they come? Can I call them? Do you manage your business in a certain way? And she said, no. I encouraged her to professionalize her small business. And before long, she told me, she said, Auntie Rosette, I've discovered something. I said, yes. She said, I make more money outside the salon than I do inside the salon, which means I'm paying rent that I really shouldn't pay. What should I do? I said, I cannot tell you what to do, but what do you have in mind? And then she told me she wanted to start a mobile salon. Today, that lady did start that mobile salon. That mobile salon is helping to educate her daughter, is helping them to build a house in their country, in Zimbabwe. Why? Because I put away a magazine and chose to interact with the people that I was with. So those are some of the things that led me to be nominated for the award of Nurturing Transformation. And those are the stories, because we have to submit. You've been nominated now. Submit what is it that you're doing in your community that is nurturing transformation. So I talked about this small group of ladies that I coach. I talked about the summit, but I also gave examples of these two stories. For me, they are the ones that stood out, that I could be able to look at people and see this is the before and the after.
Awesome.
Is how I participated in nurturing their transformation.
That's a great one. And you know what you're doing is just like what Paul did in the Bible too, you understand? He was everything to everyone in order to win them. So you were, putting your degree aside, and connecting with these people in order for you to bring transformation. Because if you have put yourself up there, they wouldn't be able to get to you.
Exactly.
They won't be able to speak with you. They will just do your nails, you pay them money, and you walk out on the side. But you brought yourself to their level to be able to interact with them. And that's a great one. Well done. Kudos, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great one. Then I want to ask further question. How did you avoid giving up? What kept you going on? One of the reasons I'm asking these questions is due to the people we have around, the people we're mentoring, the people that are looking up to us. And the one we hear from you, okay, when she had a difficult moment, how did she, weather the storm? How did you go from being zero, from being empty to, to abundance? How did you go through your journey? People need to learn from you that, life is not a bed of roses, and God has not promised a journey free from obstacles and ups and downs. There would be, but what your response to these challenges will determine whether you'll be better or whether you'll be bitter. Can you share with us?
Yes, Sandra. And that's a very good question, because all of us get moments when we feel, can I go on? Is this worth it? And for me, in addition to my faith, is I have a team of people. I surround myself with friends who will speak into my life. One of my very closest friends is my friend, Coach Betty, with whom we started the summit. On days when I feel I cannot go on, I'll call Betty. I like to say that Betty does three things for me. One is she believes in me. She does believe in me. She also challenges me. So in times when I'm playing small, she'll be able to say, but you can do it. I see this in you. Go ahead, go and do it. She also makes me laugh. So those three things, sometimes when you feel like something is very heavy, maybe you just need somebody to laugh with you, to make you see the joke in a situation that you may be taking too seriously. I also rely on my husband, because he's my friend and he believes in what I do. Even when I feel like, should I go on? He will remind me and say, no, you've done this before. You've done this, and he will begin listing the successes that have happened. So for me, community is very important. Having a group of people who you know that you can turn to at any time and be able to open yourself up. They'll be able to stand with you in prayer, but they will also be able to lift you up and help you to see that there is actually light at the end of this tunnel that you may be going
Yeah.
through.
Awesome. Awesome. And that's why it is said that God places the solitary in families. There's a reason why we ought to be in a circle of people. And that's why, as a person of faith, it is said, do not forsake the gathering of the children of God. And when anyone wants to destroy anybody, they oftentimes will look for a means to isolate you. That's the only way, because if you're in a community, it is pretty difficult. If they're going to harm you, they're going to harm everybody in that community. So oftentimes we need to watch out. What environments do we find ourselves? Who are the people that speak into our life? Also, having the right people who speak into your life. You might be in an environment where there are naysayers and people are running you down. You want to run away from such circles of friends, and you want to be in an environment, a growth environment, not a fixed environment where people are running you down. So your environment is key to your personal growth. I read something that spoke about if you want to grow, your environment is key to your growth. And how far you grow, that's the law of ladder. It talks about the growth mindset. If you're not growing, then you're stagnant. Then you're not doing what you need to do. So you need to check yourself out. That's a great one, ma'am. So before we call it a day, I don't know if you have a great story just to wrap it up. One word for our viewers who are on this show to go back with, or those who are just joining us on today's episode. You might want to say something just to wrap today's session. Maybe a unique story that through my probing question, I've not been able to get it out of you. So you might want to share with us before we call it a day.
I'll start by saying thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to come and serve your community here on the Make Every Day Important. How MED is
making a difference. Making a difference every day.
A difference every day, yes. On the Making a Difference Every Day podcast, it was really an honor. And just to remind us that let's not give up. Yes, sometimes we all have desires. We want life to turn out in a certain way. But when life gives us a curveball, let us embrace that curveball and ask ourselves, what next? Sometimes that next can be able to amaze you. In my case, I look back and I see, yes, I've been able to touch people as a coach, but in terms of my career, I've been able to use my legal skills in a way that I didn't know I would. Yes, I loved private practice. I loved to go and present in court and all that. But the fact that my strength is in communication, writing, and speaking has enabled me to get contracts that I wouldn't have got if I had stayed back in my country in Uganda. I've been able to serve in organizations on projects that are big that I never imagined by just using the skills that I got when I went to law school. So let us allow life to surprise us. Let us allow God to surprise us and amaze us with the curveballs that we think come to close us up. Instead, they open up doors that we never imagined would ever come through for us. That's what I can leave them with.
Thank you so much. It is said that when life gives you a lemon, turn it into a lemonade. So whatever your circumstances, turn it into a thing of joy. Turn it into a springboard, taking you to where you ought to be. And before we call it a day, I might want you to write your social media means by which our viewers can reach out to you. This is our contact details. So if you can reach out to Rosette, you can often reach out to Rosette through me. But I want her to leave her details at the comment section so that viewers that probably will come later on can reach out to her if they need help in her guidance and her skills. And I want to encourage everyone, let's dare to make a difference in our world. go out there to be different. We ought to make a difference every day in our world. Thank you so much, and thank you, Ma, for making that time to join us on this exciting episode. And thank you, viewers. Until we meet on our next episode, do have a blessed evening. Bye, everyone. Bye. Thank you for your
Bye.
comment. Thank you. I can see your details. Let me just, it's there. So thank you, everyone, and have a blessed evening.